In the past, Ricky's teacher asks him what happiness is. He thinks about how people would answer this question differently. Some would choose money, some would choose chicks, and that he knows where his happiness lies. In the present, Ricky slides through the streets on his skateboard and meets up with his friend Oka, who takes him to the underground ring where all the skateboarders gather. He challenges an ugly-looking dude called Shadow to a race since Shadow previously called his skating bad, and he tells him that he is gonna have him take his words back. The race starts as both skaters race past the group of spectators and take wild turns right and left. Shadow taunts Ricky about being left behind, which angers Ricky, so he speeds up. He keeps speeding up till he is side by side with Shadow, and at the last second, Shadow takes out some firecrackers and throws them on Ricky's way. As a result, Ricky loses his balance and ends up colliding into a group of spectators. A pretty chick asks a mysterious-looking dude named Langa whether anything is wrong, and he tells her that there's not much snow in the area. He then tells her that it's fine since he is here now. The next day, Ricky arrives at class with a broken arm, and his classmates think that he got injured because of a fight. The class then welcomes a newcomer from Canada who turns out to be Langa. Later, Ricky tells Oka about Langa and how his mother is half Japanese. He recalls how his skateboard also got destroyed due to his beef with Shadow, which again pisses him off. Langa goes to a calligraphy shop to apply for a job there, but the owner apologizes to him for not telling him sooner that he cannot hire minors. Feeling bummed, he leaves the shop, and on the way he comes across Ricky, who asks him to grab his skateboard. Ricky then asks him whether he would like to learn how to skate, and feeling intrigued, Langa gives it a try, but in a second, he falls flat on the ground. Ricky then shows him how to skate and even jumps above his face as he shows off his skills. He invites him to Oka's shop where he works part-time to buy a beginner board, and Langa asks him whether he can work there instead. Oka overhears this and invites him to his shop to work there, which Langa accepts immediately. Oka then tells Langa that his task is to deliver a skateboard at midnight to an abandoned mine where a top-secret race happens called S. Langa doesn't get what the hype is about, probably because he is a normie. Later, he and Ricky receive a sticker from a shady man in the street. Ricky tells Langa that he can't enter the race without this sticker since it's a very secretive race. At school, he keeps yapping to Langa about the S race and about how people put something precious to them online for a duel against each other. At the shop, Ricky tells him that he makes his own skateboard and that he would like to be the best at skateboarding with the best skateboard. At night, Langa makes omelet for his mom and then hurries to the S race with Ricky to get his job done. They both arrive at the venue, and Langa feels amazed to see the out-of-the-world vibe where everyone's skating. Ricky then delivers the skateboard to his client, but when he opens it, he discovers that Ricky accidentally brought his own skateboard in a hurry rather than the client's customized skateboard. The client throws away his skateboard as if it's a piece of garbage, so Ricky apologizes to him for the mishap and tells him that he will bring his skateboard back. Shadow intervenes and tells them that Ricky can never bring back the skateboard on time at midnight. Shadow also taunts his client, so the client then tells Ricky to race in his place instead since it's his fault that he can't skate. Ricky starts arguing with him, and he notices that Langa is taping his feet to his skateboard. Langa tells him that he will skate in his stead even if he is useless at it. Just then, the calligraphy store owner from before arrives and tells everyone that Langa will skate since it's a rule that anyone who gets on a board has to skate. Things get hyped up when everyone hears Cherry, the infamous skateboarder's words, and nobody pays attention to Ricky as he tries to warn Langa that he will end up seriously injured. The race begins and Shadow races ahead, but Langa stays behind since he doesn't know how to start skateboarding. He sits down and pushes himself with his hands, which gets everyone laughing. Once he picks up some speed, he recalls how he used to feel the same in the snow, so he starts racing like there's no tomorrow. Cherry also gets on a bike and invites Ricky to go with him to get ahead of the racers. Langa starts catching up to Shadow and even pulls off some cool moves. Cherry reveals that Langa is a pro all of a sudden because he used to snowboard in the past. Meanwhile, a weird-looking dude watches the race on screen with a creepy smile on his face. Langa keeps up the fast speed, so Shadow decides to settle the score with him at the last round. They both enter the last round, which is full of rubble, random twists, and turns. Langa manages to not fall off an edge, and Shadow throws firecrackers at him to defeat him. Langa then skates above Shadow and his firecrackers to everybody's surprise and crosses the finish line. Ricky confronts Langa after the match and tells him that he is awesome. The next day, he pesters him to show his skateboarding, so just like before, Langa tapes his feet on the skateboard and asks Ricky to give him a little push. After Ricky pushes him, he gets into the grind and starts skating through the park, but suddenly Ricky shouts at him to stop. Langa also realizes a little too late that he is going to skate right into a busy road, so he tries to stop himself. He ends up tripping and falls but hard into the busy road where a truck even drives over him. He somehow gets a few scratches and survives, but later he asks Ricky to give him the skateboard again. He tells him that he really wants to skate, and Ricky decides to teach him skateboarding. He starts giving him lessons on how to get on the skateboard first, which makes Langa fall. Next, he teaches him how to push himself on the skateboard while maintaining the center of gravity, and the school teacher runs after them to stop them. Even the students cheer them both on, and Langa follows Ricky as they both outrace the teacher. Just as Langa starts to get the hang of it, Ricky turns around a corner and Langa thinks that he can follow him based on his snowboarding skills. He ends up colliding straight into the wall since he never learned how to turn corners from Ricky, and the students have to take his injured body away. Cherry goes to a restaurant with a calligraphy client, and when his client isn't looking, he starts bantering with a waiter whom he knows from underground skating. News of the race starts to blow up on social media as more and more players comment on it. Meanwhile, Langa's mom wonders why he is getting fresh injuries each day. Finally, she musters up some courage, so she asks him, and he replies that he tripped, which makes her think that he is lying to her like young boys going through puberty usually do. He then reveals that his friend has been teaching him skateboarding, which eases her worries. Langa practices skateboarding with Ricky, but his front foot keeps getting raised without any duct tape. Langa gets a message telling him that he has been rejected from another job, and Ricky advises him to smile more. Langa reveals to him that he doesn't even get to interview in these places, and Ricky reviews his application form to discover that Langa sucks at writing Japanese. He suggests writing application forms for him, but Langa refuses. Ricky then gets a brilliant idea, so he takes Langa to Oka and requests him to hire Langa with him. Oka agrees to talk with the owner for their sake. At the underground venue, people become disappointed not to meet the new rookie Langa, and just then, Cherry and the waiter Joe make their entry in style. Cherry smoothly glides on his computer-programmed skateboard named Carla, and even asks Carla about the degree angle as he makes a turn. Joy makes fun of him for using Carla to skateboard, and they both bicker back and forth as they race ahead. Another cool-looking dude reads about Langa on his phone and decides to look more into him. Langa practices skateboarding with Ricky, and this time he tries to jump with the skateboard over a pair of bottles, which is a move called ollie. He falls straight on his face, which is probably the only straight thing about him, and Ricky tells him that it took him 3 months to master an ollie. He then starts yapping about how the invention of ollie drastically changed the world of skateboarding. Langa tells him that he has been snowboarding for 15 years since he was 2 years old, due to which he cannot just shake off his snowboarding instinct, so Ricky gets an idea. He takes him to his home where Ricky's toddler sister Nanaka greets him. Ricky's mom also greets him and asks him whether Ricky has been troubling him much. Ricky tells her that he has been taking care of Langa, but she doesn't believe him, and she then rushes off to get him some cake. Ricky shows a picture of a peculiar skateboard to Langa which has huge tires, and Langa tells him that he may feel less scared to jump with a skateboard like this. Ricky announces to make a similar skateboard for him, and also reveals that he made the skateboard that he used in his race against Shadow by himself. They go to Ricky's garage where Ricky pulls out a wooden board to shave, and he tells Langa to start thinking about what kind of tires he wants for his board. He then shows him 3 types of skateboards, used for surfing, for street gliding, and for races, and also shows him clips and pictures of players who skateboard over obstacles and perform many tricks. This impresses Langa, who realizes that anybody can skateboard anywhere, unlike snowboarding, which is only restricted for mountains when there is snow piled up. After making a skateboard for Langa, the practice resumes, and Langa attempts to skateboard in the park and even in the school, due to which his teacher chases after him. They continue obsessing over skateboarding as they watch videos in school, compare Langa's skateboarding to the pros, and keep practicing till Langa falls again and again. Langa confesses that his family moved to Okinawa because his dad died in Canada, and that he hasn't snowboarded ever since. He tells him that he has also found something enjoyable here too, and just then, he jumps with his skateboard, successfully attempting an ollie. Later, Ricky boasts about Langa's skills to Oka, and just then, a midget dude with a skateboard enters. Ricky recognizes him as the famous Japanese national Mia Chinen, and Chinen tells Langa to start a beef with him at the S-race since he wants to test the new rookie out. Chinen reminds him of his race with Shadow, which makes Langa think about how cool it would be to feel the same again, so he agrees to race with him. Ricky tries to convince him that Chinen is a pro at skateboarding, but Langa doesn't budge. Afterwards, they all go to the S-race venue, and Ricky comments to Langa that he accepts challenges too easily. Mia notices the both of them chit-chatting with each other, so he cuts through them and starts trash-talking about their friendship. This makes Ricky angry, and taking the bait, he follows after him as they both race ahead, leaving Langa behind. Chinen does a spin on his skateboard, so Ricky does the same, and then Chinen does some fancy moves. Ricky imitates him to prove that he is also skilled at skateboarding, so Chinen does a move which involves jumping. Ricky notices that Chinen is very skilled, so he tries to imitate him again, but he instead falls on the ground. Chinen tells him that losers like him should stay out, and he races ahead. Langa follows him, and Chinen asks him whether he really beat Shadow, since even Ricky seems more skilled than he is. When Langa takes a turn, his foot clasp breaks, due to which he falls on the ground, and Chinen tells him to bring a good board to their actual fight rather than the piece of junk that Ricky made for him. Ricky repairs his board, and this time he puts toe clips so that Langa can easily change his stance during skateboarding. He asks Langa whether the board is enough to make him win his race against Chinen, and even Oka advises him to just accept defeat in advance since Chinen is a pro. Meanwhile, Chinen gives an interview at a skateboarding venue, and he tells the reporters that he wants to take on all kinds of opponents to increase his experience. The reports ask him for a photography shot, so he does some tricks on his skateboard, and a group of guys throw their skateboards at him to make him fall. He easily handles the situation by jumping on their skateboard, and he tells them that he doesn't like when a bunch of pathetic losers group together. Langa practices with Ricky late at night, where he ends up falling when he takes a turn. He tells Ricky that he has trouble taking turns due to his snowboarding instincts, and just then, a guard discovers them, so he runs after them. They both run separate ways, and the guard starts chasing after Langa. When Langa returns to the den, Ricky reveals that he has found the trick to amend his skateboard, which will help him take turns smoothly. They all watch Chinen skateboarding, and Ricky notices that Chinen doesn't seem like he's having much fun. At school, Chinen comes across his old friend telling his girlfriend that he doesn't know Chinen even though they used to skateboard together. At home, Chinen's parents pick out his childhood photos from when he used to skateboard to share with the reporter. He notices his photo with the old friend, so he tells his parents that he will pick out the photos himself. A creepy-looking purple-head dude tells his assistant that he wants to attend the party on Saturday night. That night, people gather at the S-race to witness the new rookies race once again, and Chinen notices that Langa doesn't have a board. Just then, Ricky rushes to Langa and gives him his new board, so Chinen makes fun of him for trying out his first race in a newly built board. He then places the bet that if he wins, Ricky will become his dog, and if he loses, he will become his dog instead. Langa agrees, while Cherry and Joe discuss how Chinen will easily win this race. The race begins, and both players race ahead while Shadow follows behind them in his car. Ricky hijacks his car, and Chinen wonders why Adam egged him to race the new rookie. Langa jumps in the sky imitating a snowboarding move, and Ricky tells Shadow that he amended the board's tires so that they now move in any direction that Langa wants them to. Chinen recalls how his friends dumped him because they thought he was using them as his sidekicks. Langa uses a tree to jump over it to race ahead of Chinen, so Chinen starts skating sideways to race even faster. They both enter the final level, in which Chinen skates ahead of Langa, and Langa thinks about how he can't increase his speed due to the venue's setting. He then notices Ricky shouting something at him, so he takes his advice and jumps on the side rails. He maneuvers his tires to fill the gaps, and at the end he wins the race just by a fraction. Ricky celebrates his win with him, and even tells Chinen that he lost the race because he wasn't having fun while he was skateboarding. Chinen recalls how he used to have fun with his friends in the beginning, but as he started winning more medals, everyone around him disappeared. Langa tells him that they should skateboard together again since it was so much fun, and Ricky throws in a cheesy line that they will never disappear from his life. They both start teasing Chinen, which makes him laugh, and just then, Big Daddy, the purple head Adam, skates in. Everyone starts gushing over how the legendary Adam has descended, and Adam tells Chinen that he is all empty now since he has lost the race. He then admires Langa's skills and advises him on how to improve his skateboarding. Ricky then tells him to take his words back since they hurt Chinen, and when he refuses to listen to him, Ricky challenges him that he will make him take his words back through his skateboarding. Cherry tells Joe that he will settle his grudge with Adam after 7 long years, while Chinen tells Ricky not to sympathize with him. Adam starts yapping about the dry spring and that he doesn't have any interest in Ricky, but if he wins the race, he wants Langa to race against him next. Langa agrees, and afterwards in class, Ricky scolds him for accepting challenges too easily. Ricky reveals that Adam may be undefeated and that he is actually the founder of S-Race along with other founding members like Cherry and Joe. Joe, who is surprisingly at the restaurant, tells them that Adam is also called Matador of Love since he believes that skating is a ritual of love. He warns them about Adam by saying that people always get severely injured when they challenge Adam, and that many people have quit skateboarding because of him. Adam visits his aunt in her villa, where she asks him whether he behaved good enough to not bring shame on their Shindo family name. He tells them about his accomplishments, which makes them happy, and he comments that he is very fortunate since he has his aunts to look after him. They start discussing his marriage prospects while his guard listens to everything outside the door. Ricky tells Langa that he plans on racing Adam despite Joe's warning, and just then, Chinan pops out of nowhere. He gives him a training schedule and tells him that even the schedule is not enough for him to beat Adam. Shadow works at a flower boutique shop where his manager tells him that she feels safe because he is with her. He goes to the car to return something and discovers that Ricky and the gang are already there. They all request him to take them to the Crazy Rock, but he denies their request. Chinan then threatens to tell his manager that he's an ugly skateboarding loser, so he agrees and drives them to their requested spot. On the way, Ricky asks Chinan how he knows Adam, and Chinan reveals that in the past, Adam showed up out of nowhere during his practice and gave him specific advice about his foot placement that really helped him. According to him, Adam then started appearing at random and even advised him to race against Langa as a learning experience. He also tells the gang that according to the rumors, Adam has a trick called Love Hug in which he skates uphill. Joe tells Cherry about his meeting with Langa and that he's going to challenge Adam too. They both then start bickering about who will challenge Adam first. At the Crazy Rock, Chinan shows the group his trick from earlier in which he uses the rail slide to make a turn with speed. He tells Ricky that he needs to master this move to defeat Adam, but when Ricky attempts to do the same, he falls on the ground. Langa then attempts to skate uphill just like the rumored Adam's trick, but he also instantly falls on his face, and Chinan tells him that it's impossible to skate upwards. Later, they all eat at a restaurant where they bicker back and forth like a bunch of teenagers. The next morning, Ricky practices to master rail sliding by himself, but Langa finds him there. Adam's guard tells him about an upcoming meeting and advises him to postpone his race, but he insults him and tells him that the race will take a maximum 15 minutes. Ricky starts getting blue balls about his race, but when Langa asks him about the race, he tells him that he is ready. Shadow reveals to Chinan that according to his research, Adam used to crush all his opponents one by one back when the S race started. He tells him that he has sent many skateboarders to the hospital, which makes Chinan worry about Ricky. Shadow drops the whole gang at the S race, and Chinan tells Ricky to drop the race since he doesn't want Adam to apologize to him anymore. Langa tells him that Ricky is going ahead with the challenge because he wants to, and just then, Adam makes a dramatic entrance into the venue. Everyone starts crapping their pants at his entrance while Langa notices that Adam is looking at him. Joe and Cherry join Adam and Cherry challenges him to a beef, but Ricky interrupts them. He tells them that Adam's beef is with him today and reminds Adam of the bet that he has placed. The race begins and Ricky races ahead, but Adam remains rooted at one spot and even take out a cigarette to smoke. He starts yapping about the taste of the tobacco and then yells out loud that he is free to do anything and everything while he is skating. His guard tells him the details through a microphone, and suddenly Adam starts running. He throws his board on the ground and then jumps on it, giving him a much faster speed this way. To everyone's surprise, he catches up to Ricky in no time despite their large gap. He then gets close to him and puts his one foot on Ricky's board, which destabilizes him. He then grabs Ricky tightly and starts maneuvering his skateboard for him, making Ricky think that he needs to get away from Adam quickly. Before Ricky can do anything, he pushes his body to the ground, which makes Ricky fear for his life. He then lets him go and races ahead of him while Ricky realizes that he can never compete against him. Suddenly, Ricky recalls Langa's words, which give him a new strength, and he decides that he really wants to defeat Adam. He races ahead of him and even does a rail slide successfully as he turns around a corner. Adam crosses him at a corner, and as they both skate downwards, Adam suddenly flips around and starts skating upwards towards Ricky. He rushes at him with full speed, which makes Ricky lose his balance and he falls on the ground. Langa rushes to Ricky's side and Adam tells him with delight that he can finally race him since he has won the match. At the hospital, Ricky informs everyone that his broken arm will take 2 weeks to heal, so Chinan tells him that he's lucky that he didn't get more injured. Ricky apologizes to Langa for roping him into a mess since he has to race Adam next, and suddenly Langa starts feeling weird. At school, Ricky dreams about his race with Adam with a twist that Langa ends up falling on the ground instead of him. He wakes up screaming out Langa's name, and at break time, he asks Langa repeatedly not to race against Adam. Langa doesn't listen to him one bit and declares that he will race Adam no matter what. Ricky then asks Oka to convince Langa not to participate in the race, and he tells him that he doesn't want Langa to get hurt because of him. Adam strolls around in one of his conferences in a happy mood, and he even lies to someone that he's happy because he has a date soon. Oka tries to give Langa some protective gear for his race against Adam, but he refuses his offer and tells him that the gear will slow him down since he plans on winning against Adam. Ricky comes across Cherry doing a public calligraphy show of some kind, so he rushes at him and asks him to give him more information on Adam. Cherry drags him to a side and scolds him for publicly calling him out, since one of the rules of the S-race is that they won't call each other outside. He refuses to give out any information on Adam, but when Ricky reveals that he really wants to help Langa out, Cherry tells him to take him to Langa in person. At the store, Chinan and Shadow approach Langa, and on the way, Ricky comes across Langa practicing at a park. Chinan tells him that they showed Langa the basics of how to do a Casper slide, which is a move that Adam used, and to Ricky's surprise, Langa does the same move as he practices. Cherry realizes that Langa may seriously be able to win against Adam, so he takes the whole group to Joe's restaurant. After they all eat, Joe and Cherry tell Langa that he needs to master the move Love Hug if he wants to defeat Adam. They explain the mechanism of the move to him, in which Adam purposefully makes it seem like he is rushing at his opponent, but in reality he is standing in his position without moving to give that illusion. Langa drops Ricky off at his home, and Ricky shares his sob story that he started skateboarding as a kid when his friend invited him, but later his friend quit skateboarding after getting seriously injured. He begs Langa not to compete against Adam, and Langa tells him that he will never quit skateboarding even if he gets injured. Adam's flight lands and his guard tells him that the preparations are ready. Langa has a sentimental moment with his dead dad's picture, in which he tells his dad that he is having fun skateboarding similar to how he used to have fun with him when they were snowboarding. Ricky picks him up and they all arrive at the S-race venue. Adam arrives with a red carpet, and as if the flashy dramatics weren't enough, he gives a bouquet of flowers to Langa as a sign of their passionate love. The race begins, and same as before, Adam begins by taking out a cigarette, but to everyone's surprise, Langa doesn't move from his spot. Adam apologizes to him for being rude, and they both begin their race as they both take off. Langa intentionally stays behind him as he recalls Cherry's advice that Adam's love hug trick won't work if he remains at a distance, and that he should overtake him at a turn. Joe tells Cherry that he is using Langa for his own purpose by giving out such advice. Suddenly Langa increases his speed and overtakes Adam, which makes Adam really excited, so he speeds up to his side and grabs his waist. He then begins guiding Langa forcefully according to his own movements to test his endurance. A sharp corner arrives and Adam begins spinning Langa at high speed. Surprisingly, Langa doesn't become scared, rather he uses Adam's own tricks, and by closing the gap between him and Adam, he spins besides Adam as they both cross a corner. They both then split with Adam and lead, and just as another corner comes close, Adam turns towards Langa to do a love hug. This surprises everyone since they thought that the move could only be pulled in a straight path. But Langa races towards Adam while they both turn a corner and ultimately jumps over him. Adam starts having an existential crisis as he realizes that he has finally found his Eve, which is Langa, and he races up to him again. He crosses him, and soon Langa begins feeling as if he is drawing him in. He even struggles to breathe, but just then, police sirens blare across the venue. Everyone starts running away while Ricky races towards Langa. Adam's guard brings a car over for him, and Adam tells Langa that they will meet again. The police discover Langa by himself, but before they can do anything, Ricky rescues him in a motorbike and they both make their escape together. Adam tells his guard to contact the chief of police since he thought the S venue was outside their patrol area. Afterwards, Ricky scolds Langa for acting so recklessly and confesses that he is glad that Langa is alright. He asks him not to cross paths with Adam again, while Langa wonders about how he felt at the end of the race. On Chinan's suggestion, the gang embarks on a journey to go to Miyakajima Hot Springs, which is famous for healing wounds, and on the way, the boys all tease Ricky for staring at a girl who is his type. Ricky asks Langa to strike up a conversation with the girl, and even attempts to say hi to her, but she just ignores him and walks away. They notice Joe, who is in the same ship as theirs, and Shadow reveals that he tagged along because his manager didn't want him to leave alone a bunch of kids. Cherry joins them all too and tells them that he is on a business trip. Once they all land, Ricky rushes away on his skateboard and the others start following him one by one. Langa requests Shadow to handle their luggage, and he then rushes after everyone else too. They all skateboard through the smooth island street with Cherry holding a parasol over his head to avoid being tanned, and with Joe, who is half commando, to attract girls. Joe then jumps over a rock, motivating Ricky to do the same, but Langa stops him and reminds him that they are here to heal his injuries. They all then spot the beach and Langa rushes towards the water since he hasn't seen many beaches. The others run after him and soon everyone starts having as they all play in the water, play volleyball, get tanned, and at the end they have to deal with the burnt Langa who is not used to so much sun. Later, they notice that Joe is flirting around with some girls, so Chinan sneaks over to him and calls him dad. He tells him that his mom will get mad at him and points to Cherry, who is sun tanning in a silk robe as if there's no tomorrow. The girls leave thinking Joe is some father, and he argues with Chinan for being so dramatic. Adam's guard tells him that the recent crackdown by the police was because of the Inspector Kiriko Kamada, and Adam tells him that he will deal with her. They arrive at a hotel where Adam greets Kiriko and creeps her out by being his usual desperate self. The gang discovers that Shadow has put them in a crappy inn where there's no dinner served and which is really cramped. Meanwhile, Cherry does calligraphy for some fancy client in his huge room, and he is then led for dinner where there's a huge meal served for him. Joe brings everyone else to his dinner and tells them that Cherry is treating them to food, which makes them overjoyed. They all eat food, and afterwards Ricky notices that Langa's board has a loose shaft, which makes it difficult for him to balance the board. Langa calls him amazing for noticing such trivial things, while Ricky thinks that Langa is actually the amazing one. Chinan then warns everyone that according to the rumors, it's a special day so they shouldn't wander outside after sunset. Ricky thinks he doesn't have time to rest, so he asks Joe to teach him his trick, which he used to jump over the rocks. Joe gives him some advice, and Ricky tells him that he doesn't want to get left behind. Afterwards, the group discusses that the hot springs are 5 kilometers away in the mountains, so they should race with each other to get there. Ricky starts getting scared because of the rumored stories, but no one pays him any attention, and soon the race begins. Right off the bat, Shadow throws laser light at Cherry to distract him and races ahead of everyone. Soon the group splits as Cherry and Joe take one way while the rest follow another path. Shadow pulls out another loser move, but Chinan just jumps over him. Langa notices that Ricky isn't with them. Meanwhile, Ricky becomes lost at a random road and becomes scared when he spots a creepy statue. Langa finds him and even apologizes for leaving him behind since he's injured, which makes Ricky feel awkward. Ricky becomes scared again when a cat passes by them, and they both then walk towards the hot springs. On the way, they notice a strange smell, and soon they come across Shadow's body, which not only stinks, but it seems like somebody trampled over him. Shadow tells them to run away, and soon they hear Chinan's voice, so they rush towards him only to discover his body in the same condition. Suddenly they hear a creepy voice behind them, and an ugly looking body splattered with mud pops up from the bushes. This scares the crap out of them, so they run away, and the mudman runs after them. The boys run till they come across a downhill slope, so they take out their skateboard and slide downwards. To their surprise, the mudman slides behind them using Shadow's skateboard and even makes a tricky turn. The mudman pokes Ricky's leg, which makes him lose his balance, but Langa steadies him. They both race straight into a group of ugly-looking mudmen who start devouring them with mud. Meanwhile, Cherry and Joe wonder why the boys still haven't reached the hot springs, and just then, 2 mudmen approach them creepily, which freaks them out. Later at the cruise ship, the group discusses the odd night, and Langa comments that the madman was very fast at skating. Surprisingly, they still don't figure out that the mudmen were a part of a local festival which splatters mud over their bodies to protect them against evil spirits. Adam tells his guard Tadashi that he has decided to hold a skateboarding tournament. Ricky leaves his home on time for school and meets Langa on the way. They both skateboard on the way, where Ricky smoothly glides over a stair railing and Langa jumps high in the sky, which amazes a bunch of kids. Adam assures a senior diet member that his fraud won't be discovered. Kimiko then accuses him of doing unethical practices, but Adam silences her with some smooth words. Langa's mom tells her coworker that she was worried about Langa initially, especially after his dad's death, but it's good now that he has found a new hobby and some friends, even if keeps sneaking out at night. Ricky and Langa sneak out and go to a skating rink where Langa shows off his high jumping skills and Ricky cheers him on. Shadow reminds Ricky that people call him the person who can never become Langa, which upsets him. Cherry and Joe make their entry and as usual start bantering from the get-go. Cherry hits Joe with his board, so Joe also pulls his ankles, which makes him fall down. They continue their argument while Langa thinks about how he wants to go even further in his skateboarding. He jumps even higher, and Cherry comments that it's due to his snowboarding past that he has such athleticism and strong backbone. He adds that Langa must have had an excellent instructor in the past, and Chinan comments that Langa can become a part of the Japanese national team too with his talent if he wants. Everyone keeps gushing over Langa's skills, and Ricky even overhears a group of boys saying that Ricky is some lowlife that hangs around Langa and that there's no need to remember a desperate loser like him. The next morning, Ricky wakes up half dead and almost leaves his lunch at home. He even skates past Langa on his way to school, but stops when Langa calls him out. At school, he and Langa play football during their PE period, and when Ricky messes up a pass, Langa receives the ball skillfully. He then runs after Langa, but once again he starts thinking about how he is being left behind while Langa is reaching new heights every day. Langa scores a goal and everyone gushes over his skills, making Ricky think about what an amazing person Langa is for the 1000th time. Adam's aunts give him some boring, useless advice about politics, and later Tadashi, his guard, informs him that Kuriko has found a witness for her case against the Diet member. Rather than taking it seriously, he asks Tadashi to make preparations to go to Crazy Rock. After school, Ricky tells Langa that he should go to the S-race by himself since he has an errand to run at night. Later, Langa visits the skating venue by himself where everyone gossips about the upcoming arrival of Adam while Ricky remains cooped up at home. He watches old videos of Langa in which he was struggling to skateboard and wonders when Langa got so good even though he was the one teaching him initially. He questions his own abilities by asking himself whether he lacks talent or effort, and then wonders why Langa can jump so high. At the S-race, Langa skates with speed, but as he recalls his race with Adam, he keeps increasing his speed till Joe comes to his side and stops him. He doesn't seem to notice that he was doing anything wrong, and just then, Adam makes a dramatic entrance by jumping from a plane into the venue. He announces to everyone that he is going to hold a tournament soon to test who is the best skater among them all. This makes everyone go crazy, and Cherry realizes that he can finally skate against him after 8 long years. The others start debating on who will win, and even Langa becomes happy when he thinks about competing with Adam. Adam releases an entrance form for everybody to apply for the tournament, and Langa recalls how Ricky requested him not to play against Adam. Afterwards, Chinen practices his moves and Shadow tells his manager that he has found a place where he can prove that he is the strongest. In the past, Cherry asks Adam why he has changed so much and then begs him to change his way of skating. Adam replies that he doesn't have time anymore and that he doesn't want to play around with him and Joe anymore. In the present, Joe arrives and tells him that he wants to join the tournament to sock Adam for once. Langa thinks about joining the tournament, but when he tries to talk to Ricky about it, Ricky tells him that he really hates Adam. Ricky then asks him to jump high with his skateboarding again, and when Langa gives him a demo like a good boy, Ricky starts comparing himself with Langa. Kuriko stops the Diet member midway and hands him a search warrant for his house. As the Diet member's investigation proceeds, Adam's servants start wondering what will happen to Adam. Tadashi then goes to Adam, who seems interested in the tournament only, and Adam tells him that due to the investigation, he may be accused of perjury too, and that Tadashi should take the blame if it comes to that. Tadashi blankly agrees and says that he has no opinion. In past, Adam's dad burns his skateboard and scolds him for fooling around, but Tadashi doesn't step forward for him and even says to his dad that he doesn't have any opinion. Ricky decides to try Langa's jumping technique since he thinks that he can successfully jump 1 out of 5 times. Langa searches for Ricky while Ricky keeps failing at the jump properly again and again. He comes across Langa on his way back and Langa tells him about Adam's tournament. He accuses Langa of breaking their promise of not going against Adam, and Langa tries to justify it by telling him that he wants to race with an amazing skater like Adam. Ricky yells at him that he can never reach the heights of amazing skaters like him and Adam, and that they are not a good match anymore. He then walks away from Langa after breaking up with him. In the past, Adam races with someone and tells them that he has high hopes for them. He lures the other player similar to how he was roping in Langa, and as both players increase their speed, he makes a sharp turn on a hill. The player follows him but fails to turn the corner properly, due to which he falls down the cliff. Joe and Cherry witness this, and Adam tells them that he still hasn't been able to find his Eve. In the present, the qualifying rounds get announced for the tournament, and Chinen points out that Ricky isn't participating. He asks Langa where he is, and Shadow taunts him that Ricky must be scared of Adam. For the first round, Chinen gets partnered with Adam along with many others, and Adam tells him that he loves all his skating partners. In the past, Adam's aunts beat his arms with a ruler while they tell him that they are doing it out of love and not out of hatred. The race begins, and immediately Adam races ahead in front of everyone. For the next round, Joe gets grouped with Langa, and a bunch of losers decide to trap Langa so that he can get kicked out. The race begins, and as Joe races ahead, the group surrounds Langa, but Langa smoothly manages to skate past them. Joe even hackles one of them, and the both of them win the qualifying round. Langa realizes that he isn't having fun at all and even recalls how lonely he used to feel during his snowboarding days. For the next race, Cherry gets grouped with Shadow, and to beat Adam's record, he skates faster than everyone and manages to cross the finish line in 4 minutes, which is the same amount of time that Adam took. Shadow thinks that he will come second, but to everyone's surprise, an unknown skater races past everyone. Shadow even tries to throw him off the track by using one of his nasty tricks, but he just jumps over them. Meanwhile, Adam becomes troubled to see the new skater, and the new skater's name is revealed to be Snake. Snake crosses the finish line under 4 minutes, beating even Adam's record, and afterwards Adam confronts the new player who turns out to be Tadashi. Tadashi tells Adam that he has to renounce skateboarding if he wins. He also reminds him that he was the one who taught him skating in the first place, and Adam then dares him to win. The next day, Langa tells Ricky about winning the qualifying rounds, but he ignores him completely. Later, Ricky wastes his time watching TV at home, and even his sister comments that he really seems uncool. He sees a show on TV in which a guy tells a reporter that he really wants to follow his hobby because he has fun, which gets Ricky's 2 brain cells thinking. Superintendent Matsumura congratulates Kuriko for the arrest of the senior diet member, even though he was the one who leaked most of the data. She tells him that she wants to bring justice to Adam as well, since he made a false statement too. Adam's aunts grill his head about the arrest of the senior diet member and tell him that he will be bringing shame on their family if he messes up. He tells them not to worry and also shares that he already has a sacrificial lamb prepared. Tadashi practices his skating all by himself while Cherry and Joe discuss Adam's mental issues. Chinan becomes worried about Ricky's continued absence, so he decides to pay him a visit, but Shadow stops him and tells him that Ricky needs to sort out his issues with Langa by himself. Meanwhile, Ricky gobbles down food and Joe joins him. He invites Ricky to watch the final tournament and advises him that he shouldn't end up alone. Langa has food with his mother and he tells her that he screwed up, due to which somebody is now avoiding him. She advises him to be honest with his feelings and to honestly relay his emotions. She keeps advising him, thinking he is consulting her about a girlfriend. Langa goes by Ricky's house and realizes that Ricky must be at the tournament. He then searches for Ricky at the tournament while Ricky hides from him. Just then, Adam makes an over-the-top dramatic entrance and announces the participants of the race. He draws the first card, which turns out to be Shadow, while Ricky thinks about how much of a loser he is since all his friends are competing in the final race. Shadow races with some skater guy and using his laser light. He makes the guy fall, which makes him win. Adam draws the next 2 cards, which turn out to be Joe and Langa. They both get ready to race while everyone else freaks about their race. Langa keeps searching for Ricky and Joe tells him that skaters are all very stupid. He starts yapping about how skaters do skating only because they are idiots, since they are not getting any medals or any recognition from society. He calls himself and Langa stupid too, and then tells him that there's a person that he really wants to punch, so he is going to win this match. The race begins with Langa and Joe toe-to-toe as they both speed ahead. When a big corner comes up, Joe speeds up and he uses the corner to physically jump against it, which accelerates his speed even more. He overtakes Langa this way, and Cherry comments that only Joe, who has strong muscle power, can attempt such a move. Joe and Cherry discuss their past like a couple of sentimental old ladies, and Cherry comments that they have challenged Adam to a beef many times since he has returned from America, but he never responds. In the present, Joe races ahead of Langa and performs his strong kick move again to increase the gap from Langa. Cherry criticizes his movements and comments that he needs to perform better to defeat Adam. The group of guys diss Langa, so Ricky confronts them and starts yapping about Langa's skills. They challenge him that Joe will win the match, and they all watch as Langa slowly starts closing in on Joe. Joe notices that Langa will slowly catch up on him on a straightaway, so he puts his hands on the skateboard and does a missile pose, which allows least air resistance for him and which increases his speed a lot. Soon he starts to leave behind Langa, but Langa realizes that his heart isn't feeling much. Joe passes by Ricky, but for a time Ricky doesn't spot Langa, which worries him. Then Langa crosses by him at slow speed, which makes Ricky angry since he doesn't want him to give up. He yells out Langa's name and suddenly Langa becomes Super Saiyan as he suddenly gains motivation. He turns around a sharp corner at high speed and soon he realizes that the feeling in his heart is back, so he jumps over a sharp edge and lands on a path, successfully taking a shortcut. He starts nearing Joe soon enough, and just when the final phase starts, Joe bursts through a wall to create his own version of a shortcut. A steel frame comes in Joe's way and he uses his leg strength to propel the frame away. In this way, he speeds ahead while Langa thinks about how to defeat him. Langa rushes towards the moving steel frame too and jumps over it. The frame moves in his direction, so he jumps on it and uses the momentum of the frame to make himself jump. He jumps over Joe and they both race towards the end at equal pace. They both cross the finish line with Langa as the winner by just a few inches. At the end, Langa's board snaps, so he falls down too, and he then starts worrying about his broken board. Joe advises him to buy a new one, but when he doesn't listen to him, he tells him to have Ricky fix it since he was the original creator after all. Langa rushes away to find Ricky. Meanwhile, Ricky realizes that he doesn't feel happy for Langa even though he won. He realizes that he feels frustrated for not skating besides his friend, so he starts crying like a little sissy. Adam congratulates Langa for winning and then draws out the next two contestants, which turn out to be Adam himself and Cherry. Cherry apologizes to Joe in his heart since he is finally taking on Adam by himself. Langa looks for Ricky, who has already walked away, while Shadow and Chinan place bets on Cherry for the next race. Both the contestants gather together for the race and Cherry tells Adam that he will finally defeat him. Joe runs up to him and warns him that Adam is not how he used to be. The race begins and both players skate forward at equal speed. Langa keeps searching for Ricky, meanwhile Adam and Cherry skate ahead at equal pace. Cherry's board tells him about the next corner and Adam races ahead when he hears this. Adam then suddenly turns around to do his love hug move and Cherry turns around when he sees this. Since he doesn't want to get trapped in the love hug illusion, he keeps his eyes closed and with his board's AI assistance he crosses Adam and even turns around a corner at high speed. After successfully dodging Adam's love hug, both players skate ahead and Cherry starts coming close to Adam. He pushes Adam's board, making everyone think that he wants to do rough play with Adam. Cherry recalls his past with Adam, in which they used to initially challenge each other since they belonged to separate groups, but soon they all became enchanted with Adam's skateboarding and started following him everywhere. He remembers how every day felt like a festival with Adam, how they used to run away from police, and how Adam even let them see his full face since he called them his special friends. In the present, Adam pulls back from Cherry and Cherry thinks that Adam can never win against him if he shows him mercy. Cherry races ahead and with the help of his AI board, he makes perfect turns which increase his speed even more. His board changes to boost his speed, meanwhile Ricky leaves the venue after handing the guards his sticker. Joe comments that Adam has changed a lot since the old times and Tadashi recalls how he used to play around with Adam when they were kids. He knows that Adam changed because of him, so he plans to rectify his mistake. Cherry changes his board type and suddenly Adam crosses him. Adam calls him naive and suddenly starts dancing on his skateboard. He then turns around abruptly and grabbing his board he smacks Cherry on his face. Cherry collapses on the ground and Adam comments that his skateboarding is too overcalculated, because of which he can never cross a certain line. He tells him that he never responded to his beef because he found him too boring. Afterwards, Cherry sneaks out of the hospital to go to Joe's restaurant and taunts Joe for losing against a rookie. Joe tells him that Langa may turn out to be a worse monster than Adam. Cherry soon falls asleep out of exhaustion and Joe comments that Adam is all alone, because of which his skating is like this, and that he and Cherry are not alone since they have each other. In the present, Joe rushes towards Cherry and starts arguing with Adam, but Shadow arrives with his car, and they all take Cherry to the hospital. People gossip about how harsh Adam was being while Langa still continues to look for Ricky. Chinan tells him that Ricky may have left already because he didn't want to see him, and Tadashi notices that Langa is really worried about Ricky. The next match starts with Chinan going up against Tadashi, and soon Chinan notices that there are fallen rocks on the way. Tadashi still crosses him at high speed, and when the fallen rocks come his way, he uses a weird dancing technique to maneuver his body and skateboard between the fallen rocks. Soon he crosses all the fallen rocks at high speed while Chinan gets left behind. In the past, Tadashi skates by himself and he comes across Adam crying by himself, so he invites him to skate with him. Soon, Adam starts sneaking again and again to play with Tadashi and to skate with him even though they don't have equal status. Ultimately, Tadashi wishes that he should never have taught Adam how to skate, since he had to quit it because he couldn't be allowed to play it any longer with a lowly servant like him. In the present, Tadashi wins the race and decides that he wants to take skateboarding away from Adam. The next day, Ricky eats breakfast with his family in a gloomy mood and Langa does the same. Langa's mom wonders why he is in a shell again since he was previously having fun with skateboarding. Ricky doesn't come to school, and after school, Langa goes to Oka's ship to find Ricky, but Oka tells him that Ricky has taken some days off from work. Ricky wanders uselessly in a market and he comes across some wannabe thugs who throw sarcastic remarks at Ricky's skateboard. He recognizes them from his previous team, so he tells them that they only like to skateboard because of fashion. They then beat him up for picking up a fight with them. Shadow is acting all lovey-dovey with his manager when another skateboarder sneaks up behind him and smacks his head with a bat. Tadashi tells Adam at a conference that his opponent Shadow has become disabled, due to which he is now the winner by default, and Adam asks him to confirm Shadow's status. Oka discovers a beaten up Ricky in an alleyway and Ricky tells him that he feels good after getting his butt whooped. Oka gives him a reality check that Langa and the others are not in his league, so he should quit competitive skateboarding and learn to skateboard in his own style. Ricky then rushes to the hospital to see Shadow, but he notices that Langa is there too, so he tries to leave sneakily. Chinan finds him in the elevator, so he reminds him of his promise that he will never leave him. Ricky apologizes to him and then runs away like he is on crack till he comes in front of a car by accident. Langa goes to Ricky's house, but he doesn't find him there, and Ricky's mom invites him inside to wait for Ricky. Meanwhile, Ricky wakes up at a love hotel with Tadashi, and Tadashi tells him that he only got a couple of bruises. Tadashi advises him to settle with some money, but Ricky refuses his offer and tries to leave. Tadashi recognizes him from the S-race, so he starts preaching that he should quit skating since it's very dangerous and since there's no future for him as a skateboarder. He keeps yapping, so Ricky yells at him that skateboarding is really fun and exciting. Ricky begins venting about the benefits of skateboarding, and he keeps shouting that skateboarding is really fun. He then starts crying for the 1000th time while Langa watches Ricky's videos at his house. Ricky realizes that he has been an idiot all this time, since it doesn't matter if he sucks at skating or if he's a pathetic loser. He keeps yapping about how he used to suck at skating in the beginning and how he slowly got better at it, which makes Tadashi recall his childhood with Adam, in which they both used to have a lot of fun when they were skateboarding together. Tadashi calls him an idiot and then leaves him. Adam watches a video of Langa's race with Joe, and he notices how Ricky's words motivated Langa to win the race. Ricky arrives at home and his sister tells him that Langa just left and that he also took his skateboard. Ricky rushes after him, and finally the lovebirds meet at a skating park. They both become awkward around each other, and Ricky struggles to come up with words despite being a certified yapper. Langa then suggests that they should skateboard, and he gives a demo by jumping high in the sky. Ricky notices how awesome Langa is, and soon they begin skateboarding side by side. Langa realizes that he finally feels ecstatic after skateboarding with Ricky, and that he stopped having fun with snowboarding after his dad died, which is the same case with skateboarding since he can only have fun with Ricky. They both collide into each other, and Langa tells Ricky that he is amazing since he taught him how to skate and how to do ollie. He tells him that he wants to skateboard with him forever, and Ricky says the same sentimental stuff back to him. They both keep yapping to each other while Adam stalks them through a flying drone. He decides that he wants to have Ricky play against him in place of Shadow because he is an obstacle in his path of love. In the past, Tadashi and Adam have fun when they skate together, and Adam then thanks Tadashi for teaching him how to skate. Ricky cheerfully eats breakfast with his family and then rushes to meet Langa. They both then plan their day and rush towards a skating rink. Adam's aunts advise him that he should meet all his benefactors to strengthen his relations. They keep advising him about his life, and afterwards Adam tells Tadashi to invite Ricky to race against him. At their part-time job, Ricky apologizes to Oka for suddenly taking some time off and explains to him that although he's different from his gang, he still loves skating. Just then, Tadashi arrives at the shop and hands Ricky the invitation. He tells Ricky to reject the invite since Adam will really teach him a lesson this time, but Ricky doesn't listen to him. He tries to convince Ricky that skateboarding won't bring him any money or fame and that he will end up seriously injured, but Ricky reminds him that skating is done only to have fun. Shadow and Cherry discuss that Ricky is an idiot for accepting Adam's invite, and that Adam must be scheming something. Langa shows Ricky his broken skateboard, and he starts yapping about how he only realizes the value of things once he has lost them. Ricky reminds them he can fix broken things, and they decide to salvage the previous board to make a new one. They both discuss new tires, and Langa confesses that he doesn't need the toe clips anymore since he can skate without them. The Diet Party members ask Adam to head their party, which makes Tadashi think about how everyone keeps relying on Adam, but he still wants to take away his only respite, which is skating. He convinces himself that Adam will soon get into an accident if he keeps taking out skaters. Meanwhile, Kiriko gets a search warrant for Adam's residence. On the night of the race, the gang advises Ricky to back down from the race, but he tells them that he won't back down from the challenge. Langa tells him to win the race so that they can both compete in the finals. Both players arrive at the start line, and Adam begins wondering loudly about how Langa will feel once he crushes Ricky. The race begins and both the players skate forward. As predicted, Adam races ahead while Ricky remains behind, and just a few moments in the race, Adam abruptly turns around and does his love hug move. Ricky reminds himself not to get scared and he smoothly glides past him, but at the last moment, Adam extends his hand towards Ricky and pushes him into the grass. He tells Ricky to get up since the game is only beginning and that he deliberately pushed him into grass only. Ricky gets up and once again Adam pushes him into the rocky ground. Ricky gets up again, and this time Adam spins him around and around till he becomes a pro ballerina. He then smashes Ricky's face into the side rocks, which makes everyone scared for Ricky since the match has become too one-sided now. Langa tells the group that Ricky won't back down since they made a promise. Adam spots a corner at a distance, so he decides to settle the score with Ricky at the corner. Meanwhile, Ricky wonders what he should do. He thinks about Langa's smooth moves and an idea comes to his mind, so he races to the corner and jumps off it just to have fun. He skates over the bedrocks and then jumps high over an edge, which gives him a spectacular view. He realizes that skating is full of infinite possibilities, and once he is back on the main path, he races ahead of Adam. Adam tells him that he can't win because of one fluke, and suddenly Ricky turns around. He closes his distance with Adam and tightly hugs his waist. Adam starts punching him again and again, but he doesn't let go. Adam finally decides to give him a thrashing, but just when Ricky feels a drop of water on his body, he breaks away from Adam. He tells him that he will keep away from him, and soon it begins to heavily rain. Chinan points out that Ricky will lose easily in the rain since skateboards don't work properly in the rain. Even Adam whines about the rainy weather, but to everyone's surprise, Ricky starts speeding up. Despite trying, Adam doesn't manage to overtake him, and Langa tells the others that Ricky is using a special type of tires which are only used in wet weather. Adam tells Ricky to stay in his limits, and he then pulls out the same move that he used to defeat Cherry. He jumps on his feet and tries to smack Ricky with his skateboard, but Ricky dodges his move and Adam ends up slipping on the ground due to the mud. Cherry and Joe burst out laughing when they see Adam's downfall, and everyone cheers Ricky on as he races ahead of Adam. Adam tries to get up, but he slips on the mid again, and this triggers him. He loses his meter and yells out loud that he can't lose since it is unforgivable. Ricky enters the abandoned factory, which is the final round, while Adam races towards him with the speed of light. He enters the factory too and suddenly becomes Spider-Man as he swings from a wire to land on the ground to shorten his distance with Ricky. Ricky's tires start to give away, but he keeps pushing himself forward, and at the end Adam wins the race by just a fraction. Adam starts having a PTSD episode while Ricky yells out loud that skating is a lot of fun. His carefree attitude makes Tadashi remember his past with Adam once again, and he realizes that rather than taking skateboarding away from Adam, he should make Adam love skateboarding again. Tadashi announces that he's forfeiting his match against Langa so that they can both race, and Adam tells Langa that they will soon fall together. Adam dances on his skateboard as rain pours down on him and does some creepy salsa performance. He then bursts into a clothing shop and asks the tailor to make him a dress for a special occasion. Langa wonders the reason behind Adam's skating, and Ricky tells him that it must be because he enjoys skating. Kariko tells the superintendent that she has finally secured the search warrant for Adam's family house. The group discusses whether Adam has a chance at winning against Adam, and Cherry tells them that Adam has never played seriously with them. Ricky gives Langa his new board, and Langa recalls his first time skating. He then thanks Ricky for inviting him to do skating. They all reach the venue, in which the course for the race turns out to be a dangerous path, and Cherry and Joe tell them that this was the original path when the S-race started, but it was banned due to being too dangerous. Langa walks up to Adam, who looks like he's dressed up for a golf party, and he tells him that his outfit reflects their departure. The race begins and both players rush forward. They both skate through the narrow path with Adam in lead, and Langa notices a rocky incline, so he uses it to jump in the air. Adam follows him and jumps higher than him to Ricky's surprise. They land on the path again, and Adam suddenly turns around to do his love hug move. He then lands on his feet, and grabbing his skateboard he tries to smack Langa, but Langa dodges his attack. He tries to attack him from behind, and Langa dodges that too. Adam overtakes Langa once again, and they both race ahead at an abnormal speed. Adam then skates through a bed of rocks, causing them to fall on Langa, but Langa speeds through them to avoid getting injured. Their speed keeps increasing, and finally Langa feels that he is in some kind of a trance world. Adam welcomes him to their special world and tells him that he is free in this world since nobody has any expectations and nobody can give orders in this state. He tells him to forget his ordinary life in this world. Meanwhile, Cherry's board tells everyone that the players have broken the interval record. Cherry notices that Adam and Langa may both be in a zone in which the athletes have full maximum concentration on their sport only. Adam tells Langa to forget everything, and as Langa skates, he stumbles on a crack and almost falls down. Langa realizes that he cannot feel anything, and he recalls how he used to feel the same with his snowboarding right after his dad died. Adam passes a wooden ridge and Langa follows him, but the wooden plank breaks and he ends up falling down the cliff. He looks at the skateboard that Ricky made for him, which makes him recall all his fun memories with Ricky and the group. He finally snaps back to reality, and taking the skateboard, he starts sliding down the cliff. Adam starts having a panic attack when he notices that Langa isn't in the zone with him, and just then, Langa pulls him back to reality. He tells Langa not to bring him back to the insignificant world, and Langa vows to teach him how to have fun with skating. Adam tells him that his friends will soon betray him too, and Langa argues with him. Adam soon gets sick of his yapping, so he pulls out a move in which he becomes Tarzan, and swinging from a tree branch he tries to smack Langa with something. Langa spins on his skateboard and collides head-on with him intentionally, due to which they both collapse on the ground. Langa gets up first, but Adam starts getting up too and tells him that defeat is not an option for him. Langa gives him his skateboard and tells him to skate with him, since skateboarding is only fun with a friend. Adam starts having some profound thoughts, so he takes the skateboard and they both then skateboard through the alley like a couple of normal people for the first time. They both skate together and Ricky notices that Langa seems to be having a lot of fun. Adam yells at him that only winning matters in life, but as he jumps over a tree branch, he recalls his past memories with Tadashi, in which they used to have fun skating together. As the end goal comes near, both players race ahead toe-to-toe and Ricky rushes towards the end line to greet Langa. Finally, Langa wins the match by just a fraction and collides straight into Ricky. The group gathers around Langa and celebrates his win. Meanwhile, Adam walks away like a sore loser and tells Tadashi that he thought he had given up all his desires, but Langa has taught him something. The gang celebrates Langa's win with a party in which even Adam joins by jumping through a helicopter. Later, Ricky teaches his sisters how to skateboard, while Shadow gets indirectly rejected when he comes across his manager hanging out with a boyfriend. Joe and Cherry banter at one of Cherry's events as usual, and Chinan become friends with his old friend once again. Afterwards, the superintendent tells Kariko that she has been shifted to Tokyo, and he then thanks Adam for leaking the information on the Diet member. Adam tells Tadashi that he had to leak the information in order to become a political top dog, and that he was not planning on making him the scapegoat. Langa thinks that he knows what his idea of happiness is and then joins Ricky as they both get ready to race each other. That's it for today, my fellow men of culture. Like and subscribe the channel for more plot-filled recaps.